Hi, my name is Leah Carroll, and today we're here at the Gaia Festival on Pacific Coast Highway, and I am here with Grant from Solar Utility.
That's right.
And Grant, tell me a little bit about yourself, about you.
Well, I've been into renewable energy for about 30 years. And, it's really only been recently that a lot of other people are into it. With the energy crisis, a lot of things have changed since last November, where we're getting calls all the time for people who are interested in using the sun to generate either electricity or do solar hot water and things like that.
How long has your company been in existence?
Sun Utility has been in existence for 10 years. We started out in solar hot water. And with about 300 installations up in the Sacramento area.
Wow. And you're going to show us some of this today.
Yeah, this is a company that we have partnered with that designs solar hot water systems. This is a new kind of solar hot water system, whereas the old type of flat plate collectors run at about 30% efficiency, which means conversion of thermal energy to hot water. Whereas with these evacuated tubes, and you can see this one right here, for instance, is 109 degrees right now. It runs at about 70% efficient of conversion of thermal energy into hot water. So it's a much more efficient system. And basically what it does, it just captures the thermal energy from the sun, and in this case we've got it into a little coffee pot here.
And so a panel of this size, how much heat would this generate for, what size room, or what's a home? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is actually a model. This is about half size. And the way it works is a larger, something about twice the size of this could generate enough hot water for a standard house with 3 to 5 people living in the house. And the way it works, it's a thermosiphon principle, where the water on the bottom of the tube is colder and the hot water is actually rising. So it just runs up the center of the panel and then runs into your hot water system. So it's a very simple system that works quite well. This is a typical installation for a standard house, where it goes into the hot water heater. So you have the panels on the roof, and it just interfaces with your standard hot water heater. So it's a very simple design. It can do solar for hot water or for pools also. You can heat your pool with hot water. And a pool takes an awful lot of energy to heat. So a lot of people are interested in that. And again, these are models, but they're basically, the design is, to give you an idea of how you can use solar on the roof to heat your water.
Fantastic. Wow. Now what's this over here?
This is a solar attic fan, and it takes the hot air out of the attic, which acts like a blanket inside of a house, a hot blanket inside of the house. So if you can pull the hot air out of the house, it keeps the house cooler. And in this case, it's running off of a 20-watt solar panel. So when the sun comes up, which is also what's heating the attic, it starts pulling the heat out of the attic at the same time. And this can go on any type of roof without any special wiring, because it's completely self-contained. A lot of attic fans, you actually have to have an electrician to install them, because you have to have it wired in. The advantage of a solar fan is, again, it's self-contained, so you just put a small hole in the roof and put it in and flash it, and it's done.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very simple installation. And then you can feel actually a fair amount of air coming out of there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that feels nice, yeah.
Normally, though, if it's on an attic, that would be hot air coming out.
Right.
But the hot air, instead of sitting in the attic, is coming out of the house, so it keeps the house cooler. Definitely, it really does.
Okay, Grant, what do we have here?
Okay, this is a photovoltaic panel, or a PV panel. This generates electricity using the sun's rays. So when the sun's rays hit this panel, there's no moving parts at all. It's completely solid state. It generates DC electricity, similar to what comes out of a battery. So in this case, we're generating about 30 watts of electricity, which we're running through into an inverter, which takes it from DC electricity and changes it to AC, which is what you generally have running in your house. So with an inverter like this, which is a 300-watt inverter, you can take any standard appliance and plug it into the inverter. And in this case, I'm just running a water pump just to demonstrate how directly it works. For instance, if I were to cover up the panel like this, a portion of the panel, the water stops, which shows that the energy is actually coming from the sun.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And it's a direct inversion of solar energy to a practical use, in this case of water pumping. This is great for a water fountain, or lighting outside. But more importantly, solar energy is now being used to power entire houses. And that's really where the excitement is, that people are putting 10 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt systems on their houses and actually generating all their electricity, so that they don't no longer have to actually pay the high rates or whatever the utility companies decide to charge us. But more than that, the state has actually began a very good program of rebates, where they will pay up to 50% of the cost of a system, which really makes it affordable.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how are they getting the word out for that, though?
Well, they do it through their website, basically, and a lot of people are just, finding out. I know LADWP tells a lot of people about the rebate program. The California Energy Commission has a rebate program that they sponsor through the Edison Company and San Diego Gas and Electric. So each of the utilities has their own rebate program, which is really making it affordable for the first time in history.
And so people can go to their websites to find out further information about that for their, okay, fantastic.
And we have information on our website.
What is your website?
Our website is sunutility.com. We've got one other product which is actually very interesting, and this is actually it's a solar heater. And a solar heater is a really interesting item, because a lot of people have used this design for heating water. It's an older style for heating water, but nobody's actually used it for heating air. So this is something you can put on the outside of the house and heat your house, and the way it works is it pulls the air in. We've got a fan. It actually pushes the air through the panel. It circulates 3 times, and then it comes out hot. So it's a 40-degree rise in temperature based on just hot air, just on the sun again. So we've got solar hot water, we got solar heating, and we got solar electric, and they all work.
Wow, that is fantastic. Now this would be situated on top of the roof again. Can they be right next to each other?
All these devices have to face south. They face south at about a 33-degree angle, and that's kind of a median between your winter and your summer sun. And basically we figure solar works about 5.5 hours a day on a yearly average. So that even photovoltaic, a 2 kilowatt photovoltaic system, will give you about 5 to 12 kilowatts per day. And the average house uses anywhere from 10 to 30 kilowatts a day.
Okay, now this might seem like a stupid question, but what happens when it gets dark outside?
Okay, that's not a stupid question at all. Because we're using about 5 kilowatts, or about 5.5 hours of sun a day, you're generally just putting it into the grid. In other words, it's a one-way street in this case. All the kilowatts that you generate, you put into the grid, and you can take out. The meter keeps track of that. So at night, you're just taking the electricity out the normal way. It doesn't change how you take your electricity out. It's just the fact that you're actually generating electricity and putting it into the grid, and you can take it out whenever you want through normal way. But the question was nearly not ridiculous at all, because you can also put it into batteries. And you can actually generate electricity, put it into batteries, and then if there was a blackout, for instance, you could go for a couple hours on batteries. So there's 2 different ways to use the electricity: go directly into the grid, or put it into batteries and have a little bit of backup.
Wow, there's really no downside to it at all.
No, we haven't even gotten into how clean it is.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about that right now?
Well, obviously, with no moving parts and using the sun, there's no pollution. There's absolutely zero pollution. So every kilowatt that you generate with solar is just saving enormous amounts, of pollution that we don't have to generate using fossil fuels. So there really is no downside, and if you cost it out over the life of a system, which is about 20 years, you're down to anywhere as low as $1,000 a year, for solar electricity, which is a great way to go.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, Grant, this has been so fascinating today. Now, can I have your website again, please, and how people can get a hold of you?
Sure, thank you. The company, again, is Sun Utility Network. We're downtown Los Angeles, and the website is www.sunutility.com.
I hope you got that, www.sunutility.com. It's fantastic.
Thank you.